on the last video that I uploaded, I decided to go back to the absolute basics of makeup. I decided to show you guys how I started when it came to makeup, and it got such an incredible response, and it just gave me all the happy feelings, and I want to carry that through. I want to keep this going because at the end of the day, like, I do makeup for fun, don't get me wrong, but also I want to make sure that y'all are having fun with me, and I want to make sure that y'all are learning with me. If you're watching my videos for the educational side of things, like, I want to make sure that you're actually getting something out of it. So I decided that I'm going to make this a cute little series where I go back to absolute basics and run you through with like explicit over explanation of how I do things and like different ways you can do things and all that kind of stuff, just so that you can follow along with my future tutorials and my past tutorials so much easier, because I have a tendency to go off on little tangents. But also any of your other favorite beauty gurus, if you sit there being like, okay, but how they do that so easily, at least you can come back here and be like, okay, I kind of understand what's going on now. So I decided to make the second video of this cute little series of mine, eyeliner. Cause, oh, she's an absolute babe when you get that crisp wing, but she's so painful and tedious and mind-numbing to try and get there, especially if you haven't done it before. So I just want to break it down into like all the little basics. So I'm going to be going through like what kind of eyeliners there are, like eye shapes and all that kind of stuff. We're gonna go back to basics. I'm gonna go through everything in as much explicit detail as I possibly can, so that you know exactly what you're doing and you can harness those beautiful makeup skills of yours and really shine as bright as you are. So without further ado, let us really dive into eyeliner and let us really get going with this intimidating baby cakes, because you don't need to be scared of her. Once you two are friends, ooh, she's got your back. All right, let's go. When it comes to eyeliner, there are 4 basic mediums, 4 different ways that eyeliner can come to you, come compacted, come together, so that you can then put it on your face. Like an artist, there are different kinds of ways that you can make art. You can sculpt, you can draw with pencil, you can use permanent markers, you can use acrylic paint, oil paint, watercolors. There's a whole entire array. Same thing with makeup, same thing with eyeliner. So our first cab off the rank is our eyeliner pencil. This is pretty straightforward, I'm not gonna lie. I feel kind of like mean breaking this down for everyone, but at the same time, if I'm going into details with all the other ones, I gotta go into details with this one. So this is your eyeliner pencil. This is really, really good for like lining water lines. It's also really good for sketching out looks, just in case you're going for something super duper extravagant and you need to like have a bit of a guideline to go with it. But it's also really good for doing a wing that you can smudge out so that it gets like a cute little buffer up the top. This one, when you swatch it, it's pretty simple. It's gonna come off kind of creamy depending on how old the eyeliner is, hence why I bought a new one, but also depending on the brand. So it comes off pretty much looking like a pencil. If you were to draw on paper, this is essentially what a black pencil would look on paper. It's just the teeniest bit creamier. So good for smudging, good for lining water lines, and good for sketching out some looks if it's gonna be super intricate and you need a bit of a guideline. The only downside is if you want one of those crisp classic wings, this is not the one that you wanna go for, because like when it comes to doing art, if you use a pencil, you are gonna get something a little bit grainy, something that you can buff out really, really smoothly, but you're not gonna get any super duper crisp lines. That's when you start to go for something like permanent markers or like paints and stuff like that, which is why our second cabs off the rank is our liquid liners. Liquid liners come in 2 kinds of forms, so I'm gonna put them into like one and then break them into their subcategories. These are our 2 different kinds of liquid liners. This one is our marker, this one is our little pot with like a little stick thing and a little brush on it. Even though they're advertised as the same being liquid liner, they still have their differences. So this one is huge. This bad boy is really, really good for trying to get that crisp eyeliner, because you've got, as I said, the inking kind of quality to it. So this feels and looks a lot more like ink than the other one does, and it means that you can get a really nice crisp line. Also, it's really easy to hold. It's essentially drawing on your face like you would on a piece of paper. This one is really, really good, especially if you're starting out and you're trying to get into some liquid eyeliner, because you can essentially just hold it like a texter and drag and flick and do all the fun kind of stuff with it. The only downsides with this one is sometimes, depending on the brand, I've had a few duds. Depending on the brand, the color payoff just isn't as good, so it feels a lot more sheer than you kind of want it to. If you want like a bold black line, depending on the company, sometimes they just come off a little bit more sheer than I would prefer, but that doesn't mean that they're not good. It just means that the color payoff isn't gonna be exactly what you want for the look that you want. Also, if you are a goddess like myself and your skin is on the drier sides of things, I have unfortunately had issues with it kind of bleeding. So where everyone has like tiny little cracks in their like skin. You can see it on your hands a lot. If I am to do that, sometimes it just starts to seep into like the cracks of my skin. And if you're doing a look where you want a really nice crisp line, the last thing you want is to have like it starting to crack into the rest of your skin. Kind of ruins the vibe, kind of ruins the party, and you don't want that. So this one, when you decide to flick it, you start there, flick. So you can see the wild difference between how crisp this line is and just how smudgy this one is. Granted, I did just kind of like it on my arm, but if I was to just do a cute little flick, it's still just not gonna look as crisp. It's a pencil at the end of the day. If I was to compare this to other forms of art, this definitely feels like a permanent marker, and the payoff is typically like a permanent marker, so it's a lot more like ink. Whereas the other liquid liner that I'm just about to show you feels a little bit more like acrylic paint. Bear with me. So the second form of liquid eyeliner, you have your little pots with the little brushes attached to it. Depending on the brand, you will get either a flexible brush or you will get a stiff brush. If you are a company who gives me a stiff brush and doesn't let me know that it is a stiff brush, I will be very, very mad. Because with a flexible brush, you have more versatility. With a stiff brush, you're kind of stuck with what you got. So this one is definitely my favorite because I find that the color payoff is a lot better. I am yet to find one of these kinds of eyeliners that I just do not like. That's not saying that there aren't any bad ones out there. That's just saying that I genuinely prefer these ones. I'm quite biased with these ones. You get a little bit less precision because of the lid shape sometimes, but the color payoff is just better. Also, because the texture feels a little bit more similar to acrylic paint, there's less of the like cracking issue that I seem to have with my dry, thirsty skin. So that's just the difference between the two liquid liners. One's a bit more like permanent marker, both in shape, control, and payoff, whereas this one still feels a lot like a brush, but it feels more like you're painting rather than using a marker. So depending on what you feel as though would feel better in your hands to try and get the control, to try and get the precision, depends on what one you should buy. If you're just starting out with liquid liner, I would probably go with the marker version just because that's how I started, found it a lot easier, messed it up way less than when I started with this one. If we're comparing, so we've got the two pencil lines there, we've got the marker version, and then we've got the pot version. You can see that you can get a way thinner line. It also depends on the thickness of the marker version that you get, but you get a way thinner line, and also just the color payoff is a lot better. I'll try and make that line a little bit thicker so that you can see. It's also kind of reflective, but it does dry down. With this one, you have to be a little bit careful because you have to wait for it to dry. Make sure you don't start touching your face or anything, otherwise you're gonna smudge it and then you're gonna cry and then you have to start all over again. Then the last version, I used to have a black pot of this, but I don't have it anymore. Apparently I threw it out, but also it was like 6 years old, so like it was time to throw it out. So I have a burgundy version for this, but this is your gel pot. This I have never been able to master because I don't like the texture. It feels a lot creamier, a lot waxier than the other ones do, which is fine if you like that, but also it can be a lot more tedious because this one does not come with an applicator. The big benefit when it comes to gel pots is the fact that they are so versatile. There are also some companies that make eye-safe lipsticks. So if you have liquid lipsticks that are eye-safe, you are more than welcome to try and use them as eyeliner. So that means you get so much versatility when it comes to color with these. And if there's versatility with color, the world's your oyster, and it's a whole lot of fun. These ones, however, do get a bit tedious, and if you don't like the texture of them, it's gonna be a lot of fun. The three big main brushes when it comes to these are these three bad boys. The names don't matter, the brands don't matter, just as long as you get the right shape. But do invest in good brushes when it comes to all makeup. I explained why in the previous video to this cute little series. First brush you wanna get is this like fine liner brush. Once again, names don't matter, just look at the shape. So essentially you were just looking for a tiny little round brush. It is even smaller than my pinky. You were looking for something super thin, round, and just really small. So the way that this one swatches, we're just gonna dive into my little gel pot here, get a nice amount on here. You'll one, be able to see the texture, but two, be able to see the difference between the brushes. So the fine liner brush goes on like this. You can see that I have had way too much coffee today and I'm a bit shaky. So this tutorial probably isn't timed very well, but whatever. So either way, you've got the fine liner brush. You can make the line as thin as you want, as thick as you want, as pigmented as you want, as sheer as you want. It's really up to you. This one is really good for your fine details, your precise details. If you want to make tiny little flowers, go for this bad boy because you can make them as small as you want, as big as you want. Just make sure that you go for the smallest kind of brush that you can find, both in shape and in height and in width. Second bad boy is this one. This one is pretty much the same like size when it comes to height of the bristles. The only difference is this one is flat and this one is angled, which means you can get a bit more of a flick and a bit more precision that way. So the way that this one swatches, get a cute little wrist flick. You can see that it's a lot easier to flick that one just because of the angle. So you get that cute little tail over there, and you can spread it out as much as you want or as little as you want. It's really up to you. Then the third and final bad boy is this one. This is literally called the wing liner brush. It is a little bit taller than the detail liner, but it is also wider, and it is still once again flat and once again angled. That way you dip into the pot and then apply it and flick. So the way that this one swatches, start there and flick. So you can see that it's easier to get a lot more pigment to it and then a cute longer flick there. These are all of your main eyeliners and also the brushes that you will need if you do want to get into gel pots or if you do want to get into putting like liquid lipsticks on your eyes. Really, the world is your oyster when it comes to eyeliner, and it is all up to you what medium feels most comfortable with you, and it is all up to you what you prefer to use. I feel as though I should wipe this off though before I get this on my white shirt. Really didn't think that through, did I? Arm is now clean, so we are ready to go. This is probably going to be super uncomfortable for people, but I want to make sure that you can see exactly what is going on with my eyes. With this tutorial, please keep in mind, everyone's eye shape is different. My eye shape is probably different to yours, so if the eyeliner doesn't look the same on you, it's probably because we just have different eye shapes. Also because of that, there are some eyeliner looks that may look really good on me, that may not look good on you. There are some eyeliner looks that may enhance my eyes, but not enhance yours, and vice versa. It just depends on your eye shape and the look that you're going for with how to do the eyeliner that suits you best, that works with you best, that works with the look best. What the point of this video is to give some basic understanding, basic knowledge of eyeliner so that you can go off to a different channel that has an eye shape that matches yours perfectly so that you can see what they're doing with their eyeliner and actually understand what they're doing. So if you have downturned eyes like I do, I'm pretty sure I have downturned eyes. Like mine turn down the teeniest, tiniest bit. I've been told that my eyes are similar to Katy Perry's. That's not me saying that I look like Katy Perry, because in all honesty, most of the time I look like trash. That's just me saying that I've been told that I have similar eyes to Katy Perry and hers are downturned, so I'm guessing that mine are downturned. I just want to give that kind of disclaimer here because I don't want anyone with hooded eyes to come here and be like, she's gonna show me how to do a hooded eye tutorial, because I don't have hooded eyes, unfortunately, and I don't want to fake having hooded eyes just so that I can make a video on it, because that seems gross. Either way, let's get onto some of the eyeliners. We're gonna go from most basic over to as extravagant as I can make it. That way every base is covered. That way it doesn't matter what look you are going for, you are going to be set, you are going to be golden. For this one, I'm gonna use our marker boy because I want to. Eyeliner is all about framing and enhancing eyes and eye looks. So one really simple way just to enhance something is just to do a really simple line. So all we're gonna do is literally follow the edge of our eye without putting any liquid liner in our eye, because I promise you it hurts. We're gonna start at the front edge of my lashes and we're just gonna make a small little line. And we're gonna gradually add to it and pull it across. With makeup, it all works the exact same way, and that is you can always add more. It's really hard to take things away. Just a little bit at a time when you're starting out, add some eyeliner and just follow the natural curve of your eye. This is our first eyeliner look. Super duper simple, but definitely has her purposes. For example, if you have an eyeshadow look that you want to have looking soft over here, a wing liner is just going to cut through that and it's going to be really intense and it's just not going to look as soft over here. But you need a teeny bit of framing for the eyes. This one is perfect because it'll frame the tops of your eyes but not come out and ruin that perfect eyeshadow that you got going on. So this one may be simple but definitely has its purposes, and it's a really good starting point because it helps you learn the shapes of your eyes and helps you learn how to follow the natural curvature so that you can get into other more intense kinds of looks. The second eyeliner look that we're going to be going for, once again super duper simple but looks so freaking cute, so freaking adorable, and I love it. What we're gonna do is we're gonna give a cute little chunky wing to this eyeliner just to give us a little bit of an extra like just a tiny little pizzazz. So all you want to do is you want to get your marker or whatever kind of eyeliner you're going for, and you're going to do the teeniest little flick. And then you're just going to drag this line into a cute little point. This marker is just not working. Hello, sir. Where is the pigment? Okay. Apparently my skin is just too thirsty today, so we're just gonna go in with the pot. So I'm gonna put this over what I've already done just so that I've got some continuity going on, but this one still works for what I was trying to do with the marker. You can also make this as chunky as you want, as thin as you want. It's all up to you and what you prefer with your eye shape, and also how confident you feel with eyeliner. Once you have left eye all matched up, this is your finished result. She is so cute, and I think this is so cute. This is what I used to do back in like my days of uni, where I was like, I kind of want to seem like I actually have my life together even though I have no idea what's going on. This is what I'd always go for. Just a cute little teeny fairy-like flick, and then a teeny drag, and then just filling in the rest. If you want, you can do the flick and the drag first, or you can do like inner and then outer. It's all up to you and whatever you feel comfortable with. For those who are a little bit nervous when it comes to big kind of flicks and you want them to look really, really crisp, these things are an absolute lifesaver. They are Line and Define eye tape. You can use band-aids. I've used band-aids before, I've used tape before, but sometimes my skin got irritated afterwards, because I have sensitive, crusty, dusty skin, and you don't want to do that. But just pick the direction that you want the wing to go, and then just try and line it up. The way that I try and angle my wing is I will put them at the outer corner of my eye, and I will try and put it through the middle of my temple and where my hair starts to make a bit of a point before it kind of comes down. That's how I can tell when it's symmetrical, and you can always double check by looking at yourself in the mirror and just making sure that the angles are both symmetrical and what you want. You can always make it a little bit lower, you can always go down if you really want to. Eyeliner is really up to you. Have fun, enjoy yourself. I just wanted to give you the basics and make sure that you knew what you were doing, and make sure that you felt like you could breathe and feel comfortable again. But for the purpose of this video, I will not be using tape just because I feel comfortable enough to not use it. It's just really, it's up to you and whatever you feel comfortable with. Next wing is a little bit more intense. So this is how you get the good old flick. The good old flickaroony. If you are someone who has never tried any kind of eyeliner before, I highly recommend practicing on your hand or on your arm with the liquid eyeliner. That way you can kind of gauge pressure and like the hand flick. If you're unsure what I mean by hand flick, if you were to draw an eye and then draw eyelashes, the little flick that you do at the end, that's exactly what you want to do when it comes to doing liquid eyeliner. How you would draw eyelashes is exactly what you want to do. The only thing is you want to keep it straight, but at an angle typically. Once again, depends what your eye shape is. So always practice on your hand or on your wrist, really wherever works with you. So just start and then flick, just so that you can get the pressure gauge that you prefer. This is a really rough kind of thing, but always practice on the back of your hand if you want to get better and you just want to have more of a gauge of what you're doing. I really hope that that was on camera. Flick, 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 flick. Perfect practice makes perfect, and it's okay to practice on the back of your hand. You will see my hand covered like a child's finger painting in colors and just inks and marks. So when it comes to doing a nice big flick, this is my system for it. Everyone's system is different because everyone is comfortable in different ways. This is just how I do it. I typically describe it as flick, drag, hope for best. We're gonna try a bit more than hope for best today. So we're gonna start at the outer corner where we started our other little tiny wing, and we're going to do a straight flick up so that you get a nice crisp little at the end. Then what I do is I start a teeny bit before the lift up of my hand before, and I just drag it into the rest of my eye. And then I just start filling that in. Once again, you can make this as thin as you want, as thick as you want. The world is your oyster. But you can definitely see the difference when it comes to the shaping and the framing of my eyes. Because the wing is going up, my eye looks like it's a little bit more turned up, whereas this one makes my eye look a little bit more of its natural shape, which is turned down. So it really just depends what kind of eye look you want to go for. This is our third kind of eyeliner look, and this is one of my most favorite, one of my most utilized ones. And there's a few little things that you can add to this to really give it an extra kind of punch, because this is a very basic framing. What I've been taking you through is a very basic framing when it comes to eyeliner, is just on the top and then flick out. Essentially, that's all they've been so far. So we're gonna add a few more extra details just to kind of show you what framing can really be when it comes to eyeliner. Another little thing that you can add to this, you can either make it longer, chubbier, skinnier, whatever you want to make it, but where this joins is exactly at my outer crease. I'll try and look in a different direction so that I can show you. Where this lines up is exactly where the little point to the end of my eye starts. But what you can do is you can take the line down and underneath and into your bottom eyelashes just to give it some extra framing. I'll show you the difference between the two. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this line down, try and keep it straight, and just line it up there and then fill it in. And then little bit by little bit, we're just gonna add until it's nice and smooth and flawless. And to create the illusion, for me at least, because I do have downturned eyes, I tend to have this little cavity over here, which means that even if the line is straight, it does tend to look curved regardless. So sometimes I do have to overextend and essentially lower my hand to make the straight line, even though the line itself feels straight. So even though the line feels straight, it may not necessarily look straight, and that just depends on how your face curves and how your eyes curve. So because I've swept the eyeliner underneath into my bottom waterline, it just means that this outside section is framed, and also the outside section is being pulled up a little bit more. So on my left eye, my natural eye shape is looking a little bit more defined because you can see the little downturn still, whereas with this kind of eyeliner, it just means that the little downturn that my eyes do is a little bit more concealed, just because we've framed it in such a way where it looks a little bit more up rather than leaving it alone and leaving it looking a little bit down. And also sweeping the eyeliner in gives you a good base to do some downturn kind of wings. I've seen a lot in different kind of style aesthetics, something like seam, eagle, that kind of jam. So now that we have this looking all gorgeous, really, really cute, I'm gonna show you how to do some fun stuff with the inner corner. This one's a lot more scary, I'm not gonna lie, but also she serves her purposes, and or when you do it right, you feel like a god. You feel like an actual god. Eyeliner is literally my dagger. Eyeliner is my weapon. So what I'm now gonna do is try and do that cute little point there and pull it into the rest of my wing and into the bottom. This is really, really good when you want to have like sharp looking eyes, really good for something like a tiger look, cat look, all that kind of stuff. So the easiest way to do this is, once again, small steps at a time. So you want to bring the eyeliner down ever so slightly, and you want to flick it out a teeny bit. Not much, just a teeny bit. As I said, you can always add more, you can't take stuff out. So once you have the teeny point, you want to pull it into your bottom waterline. Not heaps, but just enough. And then we're just gonna clean up some of the lines and just make her look a little bit more crisp. Once again, our eyes are framed differently, and once again, you can see such a wild difference, because over on left eye, we only have the top and a little bit on the bottom framed, whereas over here we have the inner corner framed as well as the top, as well as some of the bottom. So this kind of eyeliner will make my eye look a lot smaller just because you have so much darkness around the framing, whereas this one is going to look a lot wider because you have so much lightness around the framing. This one is also going to look a lot more swooped and pointed, whereas this one's going to look a lot more rounded just because we've added a point, whereas this one doesn't have one. As I said, framing, shaping gives you some illusions depending on how you frame and shape your eye. Now that we have this on, I'm just going to show you the real depths that you can go to with this look. So with this kind of eyeliner, once I do that, a lot of the time I try and match it all up. I won't use a liquid liner on my waterline. That's how you get liquid eyeliner in your eye. So that's when you start bringing your pencil. See, pencils come in handy. When it comes to doing my eyeliner, I try my hardest not to touch my face because I already have a lot of foundation, sin stick, eyeshadow on already, and the last thing you want to do is touch something and leave a fingerprint or just take off some of the pigment onto your finger. So I try my hardest not to touch my face. When it comes to the lower lash line, I usually just kind of rest my knuckle onto the top of my cheek really, really lightly, and then I slowly start to add the pencil and the pigment to my waterline. If you are wondering what a waterline is, that is okay. I was very confused when I kept hearing the word and no one really showed me what a waterline is. When you look at your eyes, your waterline is the skin before your eyelashes. So you'll look at your eyes and you'll see just before your eyelashes, your little ridge. It's like a little square rectangle, like flat piece. That's what you're coloring. You're not coloring your eyelashes or just underneath your eyelashes, you're coloring the waterline, being the little piece before your eyelashes. That's why you don't want to use any liquid liners there, because the liquid, it's your waterline, so the liquid will mix with the normal moisture that you have there, and then it's easier to get into your eye, and that's the last thing that you want. So you want to add something like a pencil or even a gel pot. If you have a gel pot that is old, however, it is easy to flake and go into your eye, and once again you have eyeliner in your eye and you don't want that. And there we are. Once again, this eye is looking weirdly smaller. Contrast, everyone. It's wild. I love it. I love colors. I love shapes. This is why I love makeup so much, because this is not how my eye naturally looks. My eye does not naturally look like this. It looks a bit more rounded and it looks a little bit more toned down. This at the moment just looks nice and pointed, nice and sharp, nice and angled, and it's just like, just look at the difference. It's so subtle, but for some reason it just makes every look just so unique and so beautiful, and I love it so much. Then with this look, of course, you're allowed to leave it plain, bare, and you're allowed to have just that sharp outline. But if you are worried about blending it into your eyeshadows, that is okay, because all you have to do is to get a smudge brush that I showed you in the previous video to this one, and just make sure you buff a teeny bit of black into the colors that you have underneath. I feel like I'm immortal right now. I feel like I could take on the world. I feel like I could take on Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson himself, and I would survive just because my eyeliner is looking so crisp, so sharp. He would just be like, oof, I do not dare take on the icon, the legend that is Reifenstein. But this is it for the final eyeliner demonstration look. I'm about to go into one that's a lot more extravagant with a lot more details in it, just so that you can see essentially as many things as I can put in one video when it comes to eyeliner, because I want to make sure that you have a really good basis for all of your eyeliners, depending on what you want to go with in the future, or even in the present. Maybe you are following this video. This is also what happens when you use a dark color. If you use a light color, you'll probably have a different result, just because you will have something that doesn't contrast with the whites of your eyes as harshly. So I hope that all of that made sense. I know that this is a lot of information coming at you, so don't be afraid to pause the video, go off, have a cute little coffee, and come back when you're ready. But either way, I'm gonna wash all of this off, and I'm going to do a cute, teeny, quick amount of makeup so that I can do some really extravagant, intense liner, so that we can put everything that I just talked about into practice. Makeup is all off, face is now all clean, which means that we can dive into the main eyeliner look. Now, the amazing eyeliner look, an absolute masterpiece that we're going to be going through today, is by Sully, and it is just, oh, it's all kinds of glorious, all kinds of fabulous, and I am just in absolute love with it still. I used it as like the focal point of my Scorpion horoscopes look I did ages ago, and I'm still obsessed with it, still in love with it, so I really want to go through it again, because yes, it is intricate, yes, it is complex, and yes, it is intimidating. But before we do get into the eyeliner, I just want to prep my eyes with a bit of makeup first. That way we've got something to complement the eyeliner, but I definitely want the eyeliner to be the hero of the piece, the focal point of the piece. So to get my base makeup on, I will be going through a few techniques from my last basics video, so if you do need more explicit instruction on that, please go watch that video. Our eyes are now prepared so that we can start going through the eyeliner. So everyone brace yourselves. We're gonna start breaking some stuff down. So if we look at the photo over here, we're gonna start breaking down the eyeliner. Brace yourself. So the main breakdown that you wanna have is the main eyeliner line, the one that frames the eye directly, and then you wanna break it into its little intricacies. So from this eyeliner, I can see that we've got a good wing, and the wing comes down to the inner corner. The inner corner does turn into an arrow. We'll worry about that later. So our main goal is to get that beautiful wing going. Then after we do the main wing, we're gonna bring the eyeliner down a teeny bit into the waterline so that we've got a good base for the other two flicks and tricks and intricacies. So we want to go wing, then we want to bring the wing down a teeny bit and stop there. After we do the main eyeliner that frames our eye, we want to break it down into the top half of the eye and the bottom half of the eye. So if we look at the top half of the eye, the top half doesn't look that intense, but I know that it'll still look a bit intense. So what we're looking at is a big chunk of eyeliner that goes up into our crease. After that chunk goes into our crease, you can see that we've got kind of a fork shape. We've got like a flick on the outside and two flicks on the inside. That one seems a little bit tricky, but once you know the shapes of your eye, it's really not, and you're all good to go. After that, we want to break it down into the bottom half of our eye. So I can see that we've got three different sections. We've got the one back flick, the one down up and flick, we've got the in and around, and we've got the arrow on the inner corner. So just focus on doing one at a time. You can start on the inside, you can start on the outside, you can mismatch if you really want to, and then after we do that, we got two little hearts. So when it comes to breaking down eyeliner, you want to look at colors, definitely look at colors, or rearrange the colors to suit a color scheme that you're going with for that specific look. But when it comes to the shapes, always look at the main framing of the eye. Go with that one first because that's going to be your baseline. Then after that, look at the top part of the eye, look at the bottom part of the eye, and just go with whatever one feels best for you. So that is the eyeliner that we are going to be going with. So for this specific look, I think I'm going to switch between two different eyeliners. My little pot liquid liner, because she is my holy grail and she never does me dirty unless it's left eye because she's a pest. And then after that, when it comes to some of the smaller details, I will probably go to a bit of a gel pot situation, but instead of using a gel pot, I will be using an Eye Safe black lipstick. Matte. It will be matte. Eye Safe black matte liquid lipstick. There we are. Words. Super helpful when you know how to say them, JJ. Are we ready? Brace yourself. Breathe. We can do this. We got this together. I have my photo up for reference. If I look at the main line, comes down, flicks out, bit chunky, but also not too chunky. So we don't want massive chunk, but if it ends up that way, it ends up that way. It's still gonna look gorgeous. So when it comes to doing the wing, once again, you can find out what system works best for you. For me, it works best to start at the outer corner and flick out. So we're going to put this as close to my inner corner as possible without getting it in our eye, and we're just going to do a nice little flick. Done. That's it. You get that flick going, you're all good. So once I have that flick going, I'm going to start a little bit before the pressure comes off with my hand. That way it can line up really nicely and I can fix up any little details that I need to later, and we're just going to slowly drag that line in. Just like that, and then I'll flick out the edge a little bit just to help it line up. Perfect. Now we just have to fill in the rest. If you're like me, you will get liquid eyeliner on your eyelashes. It just kind of happens. And then we're going to slowly bring it in and match it up. Just going to follow that base curve that I created before. And slowly we're just going to keep matching. Stop. Up. Whilst we're still creating the frame for our eye, we don't want to create a point when it comes to doing the inner corner eyeliner. We just want to bring it down so that it is covered, because if we make a point, we might take away some necessary room to get that really nice arrow as our inner corner eyeliner. So we're just going to bring it down slowly, but not do a flick. I usually change the angle of my hand when I do this. There we are. Just bringing it down. And then just making sure the thickness of the line matches up. So like I did in one of the eyeliner demonstrations before, we're just going to bring it down and into the waterline slightly. We don't want to cover the whole eye, but we just want to create a nice base for two of the little intricacies to come down after. So I'm going to start at my wing and bring it down and underneath. There we are. Start off small, and then we're just going to build. But because my eyes have that little crevice that I highlighted before, I'm going to have to put in a teeny bit extra effort just to make sure that that line is straight and lines up flawlessly. So I'm just going to have to overline this little curve here. Even though the line will look straight, it's not going to exactly be straight. Makeup is all about the illusions, darling. Now that the frame for our eyes is complete and all matched up, we are starting to look so cute. I'm so excited. Okay, so now it is time to go on with some of the intricacies. So I think I'm gonna go with the top parts of my eyes first, because they seem the simplest out of everything that's gonna be going on. So breathe, we got this. We are powerful, we are badass, we are just phenomenal, we are all the good things in the world, we've got this. Getting the photo back up, we have a nice, beautiful, curvy chunk going into a flick on the outside and a flick on the inside. The flick on the outside is shorter than the one on the outside, so we've got to try and make sure that we have some control when it comes to that flick. If we do accidentally make it a little bit longer, we'll just make this bad boy over here a little bit longer and make everything match up again. Even though we're separating it into sections, if you do overline something, it's okay to go back to one of the other ones and just make sure that you fix it so that everything looks cohesive and everything looks like it's within proportion to itself. So I'm not going to start with the middle chunk, I'm actually going to start with the sweep. That way, once the sweep is done, I can line it all back up to try and get myself some of that proportion that I was talking about before. So the best way to do it for my eye shape, because I naturally have a crease, I want to make sure that it both sits within but a bit above. That way, because I'm using liquid liner, it's not going to smudge and we're not going to have an absolute time trying to fix it. If you have an eye shape that doesn't have as defined a crease as I do, that's okay. Just pick where you want to put your crease. Make your own crease. That's the best part about makeup. If you don't have something, make it yourself. It's all about illusion. It's all about contrasting colors and all that kind of stuff. And shape is just, makeup is whatever you want to make it, baby cakes. You got this. So we're going to start with the sweep. I'm going to start at the inner corner so then I can flick it out here, because if I flick it out here, it might be a little bit too difficult to try and line it up afterwards. So I'm going to start at about here and flick. I did exactly what I said that I didn't want to do, which was make this one longer than this one, but that's okay. I will just fix that up afterwards. Either way, there is our sweep, and we just want to clean it up a teeny bit. And we're just going to make sure that we make the line nice and crisp, following that original line that we made. And while I'm here, I'm just going to try and extend that line a little bit more. Flick. Just want to make sure that nothing smudges. I do have a fan running over there because my room's just getting up to like 35 degrees Celsius at the moment. We're going to summer in Australia. I think I'm going to have to relocate my filming location. So I'm going to start this line just before my eyebrow starts to make a little bit of a curve. We're going to start and we're going to try and flick out. I'm going to once again look at an angle so I don't smudge anything. And I'm also going to raise my eyebrow up just so that my skin is a little bit tighter and just a bit flatter, so that my canvas, the canvas that is my face, is just a little bit easier to apply the liquid eyeliner. We're going to have a steady hand today. I'm going to go up. Flick. We have our cute little baseline of a prong. She's looking nice, she's looking glorious. So now we just have to add a teeny bit of thickness and a teeny bit of depth just to make sure she really lines up. I'm not gonna lie, that line was really hard. It was easier to use the tip of the eyeliner to do it rather than the side of the eyeliner, just because it's kind of hard to like cross your arms over yourself. So with that curve, I'm just going to pull it into the original sweep and add a bit more of a curve between the two prongs. There is definitely a curve between the two flicks. There isn't just a straight bridge between the two. So we want to curve the line in a teeny bit and in a teeny bit again, and we want the line to take up a nice amount of our little lid there. We're gonna once again look down upon our enemies. That way I'm not gonna be smudging anything. We're gonna curve the line in a bit and curve the line in a bit. You want to fill in the eyeliner at this point. That way you can see the full scope of the shape that you've created, and then if you need to adjust the shape, you can go from there. It's harder to see the full effect of such a bold eyeliner like this if you were just putting lines instead of the full shape. The top parts of our eyes are now done. Everything's matched up. Everything is just looking so good. We look stunning. I'm so excited. Oh my gosh, we're doing so well. I love this so much. So now we're gonna start tackling the bottom parts of our eyes. I think the easiest way for me to do this, at least, is to attempt the arrow on the inner corner. Once that bad boy's done, once the intricacy of that is just out of the way, then we can breathe again. We can all just breathe again. So what we've got is we have a flick going up, a flick going down, a flick going across with a little hollow piece with nothing in it. So I think my trusty dusty liquid liner is not gonna work for this one, only because I can't get the precision that I'm definitely going to want with this. So instead we are going to go with the gel pot system. And I say the gel pot system because I'm just using a black matte liquid lipstick on the back of my hand. So I've put just a nice amount there. As I said, start small, build up, all that kind of stuff. So we're just gonna get the smallest brush that we can find, the fine tipped round one that's just got a really nice point to it. I'm going to do the flick up first because that one isn't a part of the arrow necessarily itself. It is still a part of it, but it's not the key shape. It's just a cute little offshoot. But I want to make sure that there's enough room on my eye. So I'm going to start at the inner corner. I'm just going to do a quick little flick up. Inner corner, flick up. The line looks a little bit chunky, that's okay, we're gonna fix it up afterwards. At this point, we just wanna map out our lines. So once we've got that little flick up, we wanna join that into the flick down to start the arrow. So that is gonna join into the arrow there. And then we wanna flick across. I'm gonna make it slightly bigger, that way I have enough space for the hollowed out section. We're gonna drag this across and into a waterline. Okay, our base shape is there. She's looking a little bit chunky, a little bit not as crispy as I want her to look, but that's okay. I'm now going to swap to my really small angle brush. That way I get that nice precision, and we're just gonna go over the shapes, making sure that we leave a little space with no makeup on it whatsoever. That way we get the like other little hollow out section of the arrow itself. So I'm just gonna once again dip into this, dab off a bit of the excess, and then we're gonna fix up the top line first. So I'm gonna make sure that has a really nice point, and then I'm just gonna drag it down into the point of the arrow down here. Doesn't have to be one sweep with this one. This one you can just do little dabs as you go along, just to make sure that you are creating that really nice, precise, crisp line. Once we've got that really nice point, just start to lightly dab into the original iframe that we created. Sometimes if your brush is misbehaving and it's not as angled, not as flat as you want it to be, just wipe both of its sides just to try and get the bristles back in line. My brush is getting quite old. I'm realizing that now, which means that I might have to retire it because it's just not staying in line the way that I want it to. There we are. You can see that we've got a nice point up the top, nice point down the bottom, and it's gone into my waterline. Now that that's done, we're going to go back to the first brush that we had, and we're just going to make sure that we line out that hollow bit. Okay, it's kind of like an upside down teardrop. Alright, so we want to round it. Okay, there's the hollowed out bit that I've chosen. So now we're just going to fill in the rest of this piece of the eyeliner. The hollowed out bit isn't as big as I want it to be, so all I'm gonna do is just gonna get a bit of concealer on the back of my hand, and I'm going to get myself another, I've got quite a few of these little brushes. I'm gonna get one of those little brushes again and put some of my Sin Stick on that. I'm just gonna add a bit of concealer just to open up that hole a bit more, and then I'm just gonna add over the top some highlighter, just so that we open that up a bit more. I just wanted that hole to be a bit bigger, but I was a teeny bit heavy-handed. As I said, you can always go back in and fix things, but it's just a little bit frustrating, and you do risk like making things worse if you don't know what you're doing. And I'm gonna go back in and try and make that really nice hollowed out piece again. We now have the points to our eyeliner. Oh, and she's looking so good. She's looking so crisp. She's just looking so all of the good things in the world. I'm so excited about this. This is going so well. To do the last three bits, we are once again going to be going in with the lipstick technique, the gel pot technique, if you will. So for the under eye and the last three flickies, I'm once again going to be going in with my small angled brush and the liquid lipstick technique. Yes, my hand is starting to look like a Dalmatian. It's all a part of the process. Just trust it. So I'm once again going to be dipping in, and we're just going to be tapping off some of that excess and getting rid of that really tiny little hair that I can see without my glasses, so it must be a really big hair. I am going to start with the outside flick. So essentially what I'm going to do is lightly press on the line, and then I'll fill it in afterwards. I'm just gonna set out all the lines for now. So we want one that kind of curves around and up. So we're going for the outermost line. So we're just gonna dab it on lightly and then kind of flick it out over here. Then for the next line, we want to go down and we want to flick up almost, but a little bit shorter than this bottom line over here. So we are going to go down. We're going to go down at a bit of an angle. We're just going to lightly press on once again. And then we are going to go up. We're just gonna do a light little flick again, just to get that flick at the end. We've got our second one. All right, then lucky last. The third line is the most intricate, but once again, we are just going to dab it out, and we're just going to lightly press out the angles. So this one comes in. Oh, my baggies are not agreeing with me today. So this one kind of comes in over here, then lines the bottom lashes a bit, and then comes down in a swoop and around. So we're just gonna press it out, up, down, and swoop around. The lines are looking a little bit chunky, a little bit all over the place, not crisp at all, but that's okay because we have our guidelines here and that's what we're going to be following. So this is where we start to fill in everything, and we have a really steady, precise hand. So I'm once again going to start with the outside, and we're just going to start to go a little bit bolder, a little bit darker, and just make everything line up and just make everything a little bit more crisp. So we're going to line this up. We're going to pull the corners into a bit of a curve, that way it matches the wing. Makeup is all about patience. Patience with not only the makeup, but also yourself. It has taken me quite a long time to get comfortable with my face and applying makeup to it, and also quite a long time for me to get patience with my control. We all started somewhere. My first wing looked wonky AF. Take all of this in, go to the mirror, take all of yours in, let us just bask in each other's glory, because this looks extra special. My heart's beating in ways it hasn't ever beat before. This looks incredible. I feel amazing. I feel so powerful. I could take on the wow. That is it for all of the lines of the eyeliner. So we have two little things to do, and that is just hearts. That is just the cute little hearts, and I'm pretty sure everyone here knows how to draw a heart, so it's going to be super duper simple. We're just going to get a tiny little brush again. You can use whatever kind of eyeliner you want. You can use pencil, you can use your liquid, you can use whatever you want. I'm just going to be using the lipstick because my hand is already looking like a really weird abstract painting. Like if you squint a teeny bit, I think you might be able to make out like a puppy or something, but I don't know. Either way, so we're just gonna get our brush, we're just gonna dip it in the liquid lipstick. So we have one heart underneath our nice little swipe here, so we're just gonna do a little dot, do a little dot, and mix them together. Dot, and it's gonna line up. Eyeliner is done. You can't really see it, but I'm doing a really fun happy dance. The music is all in my head, but I am so happy. This looks insane. This looks amazing. I feel so powerful. I could take on the world right now. We have done so well. Ah! Good job, baby cakes. But now that the eyeliner's done, we're just gonna fix up some of the rest of the face. So I'm just gonna put on a touch of highlighter everywhere and some lipstick just to tie everything together. With the mascara on, that is it for this makeup look. We look so good. We look so good. We just look so good. Okay, I'm gonna zoom out for the first time in this video. Ooh, so this is everything in all of her glory. I look a little bit like what is going on, but at the same time, is this not incredible? Do we not just look, ooh, so just, I am a golden god. We are golden gods. We are immortal. We are just so powerful. And I hope that I put in enough explanation, and I hope that you were able to follow along with me, and I hope that you got something out of this video. I hope that you can look at eyeliner now and just think, you know what? I got this, I got this, I know the power, I have the power, I am the power. But now that I've taken you through all of the eyeliners, now that I've taken you through all of the basic shapes and all the basic framings, and now that we have done this beautiful, gorgeous masterpiece, I think there's only one thing left to do. I think we need to do some sexy slow-mos. A 1, a 2, go to the mirror, a 3. Boom. I just can't take myself seriously. One day I'll learn. Today is not that day. Either way, that is it for today's video. I hope that you got something out of it. I hope I just oh, these kinds of videos are very new for me because usually I'm just running off on chaotic tangents, which means that I really lack in explicit instruction in a lot of my videos, and I really wanted to start changing that because I want everyone to be able to feel this. I want everyone to be able to put this on their face and feel stunning afterwards. I just want all of you to have all the information you need so that you can feel proud of yourself, because you deserve to be proud of yourself. You deserve to be happy with yourself because you are just all of the good things in the world. You are just all beautiful from the inside out. You are magnificent, you are intelligent, you are just perfect in every single shape, way, and form. You are all the good things in the world, and I'm lucky enough to know that first freaking hand. You all give me something to look forward to in all of my weeks. You give me just so much happiness and hope, and I don't think there's ever gonna be like the vocabulary for me to express that properly. I'm so bad with sentences, and I just hope that by making these videos so that you can properly follow along with me even when I do go off on my tangents, I just hope that these videos are showing how much I appreciate you and how much I want you to come along with me on my chaotic journeys. I hope that you have gotten something from this video and you're feeling more confident and you feel like you can breathe again, and I just hope that you've enjoyed yourself, because literally, like, I'm loving these kinds of videos. I feel like I'm sitting down with my best friends and we're just doing makeup and having a cute little talk and stuff. I love it. I just hope that you feel stunning and powerful and all of the good things in the world like you are. So I just hope that you are having a fantastic day, a fantastic week, a fantastic month, a fantastic year, and you are being as fantastic as always. Bye!